Hey everyone, my name is Emily Ryder, and I read A Chance to Die by Elizabeth Elliot. And this book is all about Amy Carmichael's life. Who she was a missionary to India and was just an amazing woman who loved Jesus a whole lot. So just to kind of share with you guys some background info about her life. She was born in 1867 in Ireland, and her parents, David and Jane, had 7 children. So Amy had 6 siblings, and they just grew up in a Christian home. They knew who Jesus was, and they were taught about him and about the Bible. But when Amy was 18, her father passed away from pneumonia, and this would be kind of the beginning of Amy seeing just struggle in the Christian life, but God didn't leave her there. He used that time to really just push Amy to serve other people and to really serve those around her rather than serving herself. And so Amy just loved serving her family, but also she just loved serving her community, and she started to serve in slums around her city. And it was just amazing because she would just invite these women who were just really looked down on in the society. She would invite them over, and she would just teach them about the Bible, about what Jesus did, and there would be women who would get saved, and then she would teach them how to share the gospel with other women and other people in their life. And so from the very get-go, as a young woman, like, Amy Carmichael just loved to disciple people and loved to tell them about who Jesus was. And so as Amy grew up and as she grew more and more in the Lord began to call her to the nations, and he began to put on her heart, go ye therefore to all nations, and she did. She first got to go to Japan in 1893, and a big point in that time when she was in Japan is as she talked to a missionary who had just been struggling with their team there, and through struggling with some other workers on the field there. And something that really just opened Amy's eyes was that there was a struggle of love for even one another in the body of Christ. And that was something that didn't sit well with Amy Carmichael. She really wanted her life and her ministry and everything that she did to be defined by love for one another. And so that was something that she really just sought after. She sought for unity and peace among her team and among anyone that she was around. She didn't want to be known for strife. And so from Japan, though, she went to China, and from China she went to India, and India would be her landing spot. She would spend the rest of her life in India, and that her time in India was filled with just amazing stories of the Lord's work. And really her time there, it was really cool, because something that Amy didn't really anticipate to do while she was in India was she thought that she was going to be just evangelizing to women in these villages and just going out and telling people about Jesus. But what happened was she encountered temples there in India. And what she began to see is that there were children who would be given over to temples to basically be the worshipers that lived in these places to worship the gods in these temples. And it was just a really, really sad thing that these children never got. They weren't free. They were pretty much slaves to these temple gods, and they would be treated terribly. And so Amy saw that, and she was not okay with that. So she started a rescue mission, really beginning with girls, with temple girls. And it started all with a little girl named Prina. And that kickstarted it all. Amy would spend the rest of her life rescuing children from temples, and the more and more children that they got, the more and more Amy just shared the gospel and shared her home, her living space. She would open really her whole entire life to these kids and to anyone who wanted to come to know Jesus. So she would welcome kids as well as adults that she would just encounter and who came to know Jesus. She would welcome them in and bring them on her team. And so that was an amazing thing that Amy Carmichael did. But also she started to welcome in boys. She saw that there were boys that were also being brought in as temple slaves, and she started to rescue them as well. And so she started another house for these boys, and she would later open a hospital. She would open a place for locals to come and to be seen for medical care, or to just have a place like a shelter for locals. And so it was just amazing. Amy's life was just one filled with service and filled with loving those who need it, just like Jesus did. And so how Jesus just loved those who just needed to be served and who needed to be loved for it. And so yeah, I definitely would say that her life was defined by service, but also one of prayer. Amy prayed to her Father more than I've probably ever heard of anyone praying. I was just so challenged and encouraged as I read this book, because currently, just to give a personal note, I'm about to leave to go on a practicum for the Global Studies degree at Southeastern, and I'm sure a ton of you guys have either done that or are looking into it. But yeah, just on like the financial part, it's just something that was really challenging and is currently challenging for me. Is Amy never told anyone about her finances. She never asked for money. She was so hesitant to even acknowledge the fact that she was in need. And that has been something that has really been challenging for me. And I've really just seen in her book, and I've been praying about as I finished it, of just, wow, Lord, like she was so quick to pray, rather than just asking man for need. She asked her God, and that has been something that I definitely want to learn and am learning, and just challenged daily when I think back on this book. So yeah, this book has impacted my life in a lot of ways, and I'm so grateful that I got to read this book. Yeah, just learning about prayer and learning about a love that doesn't really have boundaries. She just let people in past her comfort zone. I don't really know if she had a comfort zone, because the book just talks about her life as just being one that is filled with continual giving and continual serving and letting more and more people in. And so I pray that you're encouraged by this video, and that hopefully one day you get to read A Chance to Die. And it is an amazing book, and Elizabeth Elliot does a great job writing it. So hope you guys have a great end to your semester, and I'm grateful for all the videos that you all have posted, and hope that the Lord just brings us to the end of the semester well, and grateful for you all. So see you guys.